It's a little funny looking.
It's a big old awkward bird.
I always think of it as a chicken.
It's like, I don't know if I want to try to mimic.
Wallop.
Blah, 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 blah. And we're proud of the fact that Wyoming has more sage grouse than any other state, but it's also a challenge.
The sage grouse is the conservation battle of our generation. If the sage grouse keeps declining the way it is today, it's going to be facing imminent extinction and it's going to need the protection of the Endangered Species Act.
If the bird is listed, you could potentially be talking about closing down Wyoming and closing down the West.
Got it? She may be in this low spot, so we didn't see.
These biologists in Wyoming are searching for a sage grouse hen.
And we'll get closer and count how many chicks she has.
She's hidden beneath the sagebrush, making her tough to spot.
You're right here.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, they're all, okay, that's,
Oh yeah,
sweet.
okay.
We got them all right here.
Okay.
In 2015, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service will decide whether to list the bird as an endangered species. If it's listed, an unprecedented amount of Wyoming will face heavy restrictions on development, which could stifle the state's economic growth.
Crazy. The head is up.
That threat has led to some surprising partnerships.
A lot of different energy groups that have contributed to this effort. Right there. They're funding our research. We wouldn't be able to do it without the energy companies, that's for sure.
The northern spotted owl is said to be on the verge of extinction.
2 decades ago, the listing of the spotted owl helped to shut down the timber industry in the Pacific Northwest.
Family mills are locked, saws stilled. Environmentalists blame relentless overcutting. Loggers blame mixed up priorities.
That's a fate Wyoming wants to avoid for its booming energy industries. But unlike the spotted owl, the sage grouse presents a new ecological dilemma. That's because one of the key disturbers of the bird is a source of renewable energy: wind farms.
Well, certainly climate change is one of the biggest crises that we face today. And the other big ecological disaster is the extinction crisis, the biodiversity crisis, the dwindling away of native wildlife species. Moving wind power into sage grouse habitat brings these two conflicts in direct competition with each other.
ERIK MOLVAR is a wildlife specialist who wants to preserve the sage grouse's habitat.
There's abundant grass cover that's at least 7 inches tall. They're able to hide effectively, and that's their main strategy because they're very poor flyers, they're not very fast, and some of their main predators are things like golden eagles and hawks that are very good flyers.
And the birds need large open spaces, avoiding trees and tall structures where predators might perch.
This is where the high quality habitat is.
Chad LEBEAU has spent 6 years tracking birds near a wind farm.
You know, we're hoping to come up with the potential impacts to a sage grouse from wind turbines. They're not near the road, so we're gonna unload our ATVs and get a little bit closer to where the birds are. I'm worried she's on top of that hill up there, no? Right now we're at about 1.5 miles from the turbines. Our initial research, we saw that nest success and brood survival was a lot lower in habitats closer to turbines.
The potential for wind in Wyoming is huge. I mean, we are a windy state. But we do know that the birds have an aversion to tall structures. Let's not be Pollyanna about this. Everything can't be everywhere.
If the bird were to be listed as an endangered species, all of its sprawling historical habitat would be restricted. That's about 80% of the state. Hoping to avoid this, the state has developed a more targeted approach. It only restricts development where the sage grouse is most concentrated.
And in those areas, we want to be very careful on how we go about any development. We want to be careful about disturbances to the bird.
We have a very diverse group of people who work together on this, from industry to regulatory agencies to environmental groups, all at the same table. The investment that this state has put into sage grouse is huge. We're well over $100 million in projects on the ground. You add in the research side, we're probably looking at another 10 to 20 million. And then you add in the manpower and personnel side, and it's probably that much again.
You can't save the sage grouse by throwing money at it. Identifying these large landscapes of priority areas is a great first step. But the state of Wyoming is really working harder to protect the interests of the industrial developers who are degrading the sage grouse habitat than they are at protecting the sage grouse itself.
There is that ultimate conflict where you say, do you want to have electricity to your hospital in California, or do you want to have this bird here?